Thank you, everyone. Alright, you should all be able to hear me now. Sorry. Microphone's connected. I just forgot to click on it in my settings. gonna sign language. How do I do sign language? I'll give you 2 thumbs up. I had a decent week. Anyway, in terms of what I was ranting about was I was saying, a bit of an exciting game at the end there for any Raiders Dragons fans. If you're a Raiders fan, you're probably a little bit upset with the finish because probably grounds for a penalty, which you didn't get, and it's very crucial for the eventual top 8, given that both teams were on the same amount of points. But look, we're all here to talk about SuperCoach. I'm getting Moz saying poem. Yeah, look, there will be a poem at some point. I mean, I've already revealed what the poem was on Thursday. Bloody Pappenhausen just decides, screw all you guys, you're all doubting me. I'm just gonna go out and get 100 points in the last 5 minutes and finish on 135. So he's barely going to lose any money, which is not what we were aiming for any non-owners. But look, for anyone who didn't hear the Pappenhausen poem, I'll quickly run it off. It's too hurtful to do it any more than 2 times, so I'm not going to do it after this, I think. So round 16 was all about, do we buy little Pappy? We weren't sure how he'd come back from his hammy. 144 break even, surely can wait around. Little did we know what was about to go down. He was hit and miss all game, and I thought you beauty, but classic Manly doing their end of game duty. Let the storm back in, and Paps got all of his points. After all that junk, I must simply anoint Ryan Pappenhausen, the SuperCoach gun. Watching you at the end was simply not fun. I will never doubt you again. Please come back to me soon, my friend. Round 17 can't come quick enough. I'll get you back, trading all my guns for enough. There you go. That's the Pappenhausen poem. Moz, there you go. That's your there's your poem. You've asked 3 times for poem. You've got one now. I'm glad I didn't say that while I was muted and you guys couldn't hear me. So keep posting your scores. In terms of past score, so I took a couple of averages of the Podmasters Cup, which is I think like the 3rd highest ranked league. So it's obviously quite a a lot of the players in there are obviously podcasters, so they kind of know what they're doing, and a lot of them are doing really well. So the average score in that league is 1,150, and there's a second Podmasters league, and that one was 1,159. So in those 2 leagues, the average is around that kind of 1150 mark. So I'd say overall, the overall par is probably a little bit under that, so maybe say 1130. So I think if you've gotten above, like say 1150 plus, I think you're probably going to be okay. If you've hit 1200, I think you've had a good week as well. So that's kind of my estimate. So I can see Lachlan there with 1214. That's a pretty good score. Isaac 1237. I remember you tweeted at me that you bought Pappenhausen. Yeah, any Pappenhausen buys. Look, I will say straight up, you guys are lucky. Okay, there was like he was on like 29 points with like 73 with like 7 minutes ago, and I was like, sweet, we're gonna get such a cheap Ryan Pappenhausen. And then all that at the end. Look, it was a bit annoying, but it's actually a good sign because he goal kicked at the end. We obviously can tell he was running pretty okay. When he was running 2 of his tries, he was involved in the attack. So, yeah, he got his try assist. So, good signs. I can't wait for lockout. Pappenhausen is coming straight in to my team. Obviously, pending if he comes into the blue squad. But I haven't really heard too much talk about that. I don't really think that's going to happen. So, yeah. I'll quickly shout out Oliver. So I saw your message actually a bit earlier. You got 1250, which is a great score. You did have Pappenhausen, but you didn't even loop Pappenhausen. You captained Isaiah Tass, who came in clutch with 71 points, which is honestly not that bad of a score for your captain. So, it's the SuperCoach gods were watching you this weekend, because any other week you stuff up that kind of loophole and you might be captaining someone who gets like 2 points. So to get Tass in, who comes in with 71, is that's definitely a bit of a blessing in disguise there. Well, not a blessing in disguise. Obviously, taking Pappenhausen's points would have been better, but can't really be too upset with 71 from Tass. Moz, it's Tass season. Yep. So Isaiah Tass looked really good as well. So I have a feeling he'll be there for round 17. So anyone who's held on to him, like myself, we've got a little extra cheeky number there, which is good. Fingers crossed. Obviously, have to wait for TLT. Daniel, you said you scored 1127 this week. Yeah, I think that is about right on par. 1204 from Morgan, that's a good score. 1090 from Brody 456. Yeah, it's a little bit on the lower end, but I think it's one of those weeks again. None of the captains, Hines was the highest player player who did well with 96. He updated to 96. So I captained Cleary. So he got 82. So only about a 14-point gap there. So not too bad. What I'm more annoyed about is in terms of my reserve selections, I ended up playing Karaz over Payne Haas. And I never really was thinking about Karaz all week. It was always on either one of Payne Haas or McInnes. And then for some reason I was like thinking, oh, it's a wet game. His floor's around 30. If he gets a try, a few tackle breaks because it's wet or something, Haas got his injury things. So I switched to Karaz when I never really thought about him all week. He got 33 and Haas 58. So again, it's about 25 points I left on the table there, which I would have, if I'd stuck with my original plan, I would have hit 1200. But I can't really complain with 1177. I think that's a decent score for this week. What a man, James! What a man! All the emojis, James. You need to let me know who's the guy you're shouting out here. What a man! Is it Pappenhausen? Yeah, someone's asking about. Not asking. They're just saying how good Joe Tarpany is. What did he score? 85 points. Got that line break. Just he's killing me. He's killing me as a non-owner. I lost my head-to-head in the Podmasters because of Joe Tarpany. I was winning the whole round and then he gets 85. But yeah, he is absolutely killing it. Yeah, Tarpany's what everyone thought Haas would be. Yeah, Haas obviously played decent minutes, 65 minutes, but only 58. So his PPM is definitely down because of, I think, these injuries. So he's definitely, like we all know, he's not really at 100%. Whereas Joe Tarpany is, he is on 100% for sure. Sad selling Cooler. Yeah. Sold Cooler for Grant Anderson. What did Cooler even finish on? Oh, I have it up there. Sorry, 100 points. Yeah, sweet. Just sold the guy who scores 100 points for the other guy who scores 12. Classic downgrade move. But look, it freed up some money. I wasn't going to play Cooler this week against the Storm anyway, so I would have been more frustrated seeing those points on my bench, to be honest. But he will obviously make a lot more money. Karaz was your AE after the Pappy loop. Yeah, Colin, 33 from Karaz. Again, you kind of did what I thought in terms of his floor. I was just hoping maybe he would get some tries. Didn't quite happen there. James, yeah, okay. Of course you'd be saying, what a man for Paps. Anyone who got Paps' points this week is cheering. I know, I would have been gloating so much though on Twitter, I reckon. So don't be like, oh, I wouldn't gloat because I had Paps. Look, if I had Pappenhausen and he did that at the end of the game and I owned him, I would be going crazy on Twitter. And that poem would have been completely different tone. More people should be talking about Reece Robson. Yeah, Reece Robson has been killing it as well. Cowboys, pretty comfortable win in the end there. Oops, how do I get rid of this bloody... There we go. 89 points. He's been absolutely on a tear recently, Robson. Although my other guy who I got was Appy. He really did help me out this week. Scored 107. I think he had a try assist, a line break, a try as well. So yeah, he did really good. Latrell or Teddy? Yeah, this is a good question from James. So yeah, look, Latrell absolutely killed it as well on return. I think he scored 99 points in the end. Rabbitohs are really good. Parramatta doing their typical one game good, one game poor. So next week, maybe it's a good week to pile into your Eels players for round 17 because they're going to bounce back based on their recent history. Yeah, Latrell or Teddy? So Teddy scored, I think, about 61 points. And look, I thought the Roosters looked really good as well. I don't think we played bad. Just Penrith in the end are just too good. But I will admit, I don't think some of the refereeing decisions really helped us out there either. I know I'm not going to get any sympathy, though, from non-Roosters fans about ref decisions. But look, Teddy was still pretty solid. It's got a pretty high floor. Latrell, the thing with Latrell is obviously the run home for the Rabbitohs is not the easiest. He is goal kicking though, which is really good. The thing with Latrell though, I'll need to do some stats on this and just have a bit of a look through what his previous scores have been. But my feeling is that he actually still scores okay, even against the better teams. And if the Rabbitohs do start turning it on with him back in the team, yes, they've got some tough games in there, but Latrell is goal kicking, so that really helps his floor. It looks like he won't be available for Origin. So next week against the Knights, he could be a real upside pod that you can consider for round 17 as well. And you're still going to get the Bulldogs in round 18, so you're still going to get a couple of good matches. Obviously, then it's Melbourne, Sharks, but yeah, look, I think Rabbitohs, if they keep up this form or what they showed against the Eels, I think, yeah, Latrell could be a serious consideration. Roosters probably have slightly better games on paper to back end of the season, but there's something about Latrell goal kicking that is really tempting. I think goal kickers always just are really tempting for SuperCoach. Just it's like Lomax, for example. I had Lomax today. Didn't really do anything. He still managed to get like 40 plus points just because he got a couple of goals. Like normally it'd be like 30, but just bumps up the average by 10, which can be really handy. So I'll need to do a bit more looking into that one. I think it was James who asked that question. I still think maybe Teddy, because I think we do have a better run home than the Rabbitohs. But Latrell, if he's a big game player, if he can score well against the big teams, then obviously is a consideration. Cheeky 76 from Saab. Yeah, Saab scored a double, I think, from memory. Or did he score a hat trick? No, he scored a double. Yeah, but Jason Saab, like, not too keen. I think centre wing is a really valuable position, although I've just filled it up with Grant Anderson. But yeah, could be an option. But I think centre wings I'm trying to cover for either round 17 or I'm going to go for like a Brian To'o. Scored again. Didn't do much else outside of that, but still had like a pretty good score. I think he scored 60, so pretty solid. So real happy with a couple of my holds this week. So Aitken did really well, scored 68 points, which I was really happy with. And Tungor, he scored 86. Obviously, he's got that try. And I was real happy with that because like I was gonna play him this week. And again, he gives you a bit of more food for thought because everyone's thinking, let's sell him. But then he comes out every once in a while with these kind of 70, 80 plus scores. And you're like, oh yeah, this is what he can do. And then you kind of have to start thinking about it again. Gutherson could score 2 tries and couldn't break 70 points. Yeah. Like, I don't know too many people who have Gutherson. I know, James, it sounds like you do for round 17 cover. Yeah, look, scoring a double as a fullback and not getting more than 70 is not ideal. Obviously, they didn't really have that much of the ball. The Rabbitohs are pretty dominant. They're basically down their side of the field most of the time. Yeah, he definitely would be a flip after round 17, that's for sure. Manu over Teddy. Now, this is interesting. Like, Manu, again, absolutely killed it. I think one of his try assists that he got, I was a little bit, like, umming and ahhing about. I wasn't quite sure if that was, like, it should have been deserved. But, look, I'll take the points. But, yeah, I think he scored 26 points in tackle breaks, which is ridiculous. 26 points in tackle breaks, a couple of line break assists, a lot of runs. He is running the ball a lot. And, yeah, he's in some seriously good form. Manu over Teddy. Oh, I mean, I'd say Manu's probably, like, I think Manu's average for the season is around 73. I think Tedesco's is about the same. The thing is that, so Teddy's average is 73.5 and Manu's is, I think it was about 72. Let's have a quick look here. 72, yeah. So that's a tough one because I think even if the Roosters are doing well, Teddy's always usually going to be involved, but we're not really doing as many of those kind of sweet plays that we would normally. Teddy would chime in as a fullback and get those kind of try assists and line break assists. Manu's just racking up his points just in general play, just like tackle breaks, running a lot. Yeah, I think the round 18 factor does come into it. If the Roosters do rest Tedesco, although I'm not sure how much we're going to be resting Tedesco. Just where we are in the table, I think, Robbo is going to want to make sure that we can try for top 8. And I'm just having a quick look at round 18. When do the Roosters play? So Roosters play on Saturday. Okay, so it's only going to be a Thursday, Friday. So it's only a 2 or 3 day turnaround. So that would be tight. It is against the Dragons. Yeah, look, if you're in round 18, obviously if Tedesco doesn't play and Manu's playing like 5'8" or fullback, I think, you would prioritise him over Tedesco in that instance. Gets the extra game, plus at fullback he's a monster. Angus. Angus is being really frustrating. Like, he scored 30 points. Obviously, he got that sin bin, which I thought was a bit soft. But, outside of that, he has been a little bit down the last few weeks. I know a few people have thought about selling him. Definitely think there is potential grounds to actually sell him. And, like, for example, next week, I might sell him potentially for Madison, or maybe one of those round 17 guys, maybe even Sean Lane. He's not doing as well as we hoped. Like, we bought him for round 13 and he was decent for a few weeks. Just hasn't really kicked on as what we would have liked, but they do still have the good games coming up, which kind of makes me think I might want to hold him. Again, obviously he could also be a risk for round 18 resting, but I would expect him to still come off the bench for New South Wales, so I don't think he's going to play massive minutes. Yeah, I can see a few people saying like Angus for Tarpany. Like, yeah, Joe Tarpany, I feel like the longer that I avoid him, it's just going to keep hurting me more. Like, he's just killing it every week. So yeah, like Angus to Tarpany, yeah, I think on paper that looks pretty good. Isaac, yeah, you're going to get rid of him this week. I think a lot of people will sell Angus this week just to get to like a Madison, say if Madison is fit to play. Obviously, he was a late out with the rib cartilage issue, but if he's good to go next week, because they named him, so they probably would think that he was close to playing anyway. Yeah, you know, Angus to Madison could be a very easy move that a lot of people will do. Let's see a few more things here. Okay. Oh, Ted, you punted Angus for cheese and Paps. Okay. Yeah, so, yeah, Brandon Smith obviously did well this week, scored the try in his 100th game, scored, I think, about 66 points. And then, yeah, Pappenhausen did Pappenhausen things. So, in that point of view, selling Angus, yeah, that definitely did work out 100% in your favour. How good is Adam Elliott off the bench and still did well? Yeah, he has been killing it. You got to give props to the Whisperer. He was, I think, the main guy kind of starting the Adam Elliott train, and he's been killing it, I think, ever since he got him. I want to see how many minutes he played, just to see. Off the bench, he still played 50 minutes off the bench. So, yeah, 62 points. I think he scored in about 50 minutes. That's solid work rate. I don't think he had any attacking stats yet. 23 tackles, a couple of tackle breaks. Yeah, it's all base, essentially. Oh, he had one line break assist, but still, really, really good PPM from Adam Elliott. So, yeah, again, another one of those guys who, if you've held, I think he's a fine hold. He's been banging out like 60 plus, even like 80 plus the last month or so. Moz is saying, is it bad that I'm tempted to run 2 front row forward for the run home and then a Jermaine Tanua-Brown who's plotting with 30s and enough? No, I think a lot of people will nuff in the front row forward. I was personally hoping for like Stefano Oitikamanu, but he came off the bench and only played like 22 minutes. Ideally, he would have been a nice downgrade. But like, say, for example, next week, if I wanted to raise funds, if I had to, I can maybe sell Payne Haas for, Oitikamanu and make some money and get a round 17 guy in. Payne Haas, though, is still banging out like 58, so I'll probably just keep him for now. But no, I don't think that's a bad strategy. I think 2 front row forward, just kind of set and forget, put in like IPAP, although he didn't do that well this week. You know, just leave an IPAP, get in like a Tarpany, and then leave it. Or like, IPAP and a Lolo. If you've got Tarpany in your second row forward, I don't even mind putting Tarpany in your second row forward as well. The dual is really handy. So yeah, it's not a bad strategy, I think, Moz. I think a lot of people will nuff in front row forward. And obviously with nuffing, just make sure that if you are getting a genuine nuff, just try to get someone who's dual listed. It will just help you out in the future as well. Hog is saying, I just destroy players as soon as I buy them. IPAP, Harry Grant, Angus, and Campbell Graham just halve their averages. Any requests for me to destroy a player for you? Can you buy Joe Tarpany? He's killing me. So if you buy him, I'd be happy to see his average go down by half as well. Hoggers, if you can help me out there. So happy I'm a Drinkwater owner. Yeah, Drinkwater has been killing it. Someone actually asked me, I think, in the YouTube comments, would I buy Drinkwater or Dylan Brown this week? I know I always talk about Dylan Brown. I love the guy. I still said Dylan Brown just because he plays the extra game, and I thought that the two of them would still average around the same for the rest of the season. So if you're just buying one of them, Dylan Brown, in that sense, would score more over the rest of the year. But yeah, Cowboys do have a really good run home for the rest of the season as well. So I think, yeah, Drinkwater it's a difficult one because if, say, for example, he's the only guy you can realistically sell for like Pappenhausen, I think you do it next week. Otherwise, I'd be tempted to hold him because he's been killing it. And Cowboys' run home is really, really good. So if I have a quick look at their draw. So you've got, obviously they've got the bye in round 17. Then you've got the Sharks, who obviously they can still concede some points. Then you've got Tigers, Dragons, Bulldogs, Roosters, Warriors, Rabbitohs, and then Penrith in the very last week of the season when there could be restings for Penrith. So yeah, it's a really good run home for Cowboys and they're killing it. So yeah, I think, yeah, if you are a Drinkwater owner, yeah, pretty happy with that one. Campbell Graham owner struggling. Yeah, he's been shifted to the right centre, obviously with Tass coming in, so it's not as good for his attacking output, although he did get a try assist. So I think he ended up on about 52 points, which is fine. You'll take that obviously from your centre wing. But yeah, it definitely has kind of cooled off over the last 2 or 3 weeks in comparison to what he was doing beforehand. Just standard SuperCoach things, right? You buy someone and then they start not doing what you hope for. Ted, your burning question is what to do with Ruben Cotter. You've held him, but is bringing Brayley the Sharks in. But is bringing in Brayley for Cotter as their strength of schedule is juicy. Yeah, what did Brayley end up scoring? I think he scored only 40 points though. There's not a lot of great round 17 hookers. That's the thing. So I feel like I think the best hookers obviously is probably Damon Cook, who won't play for Origin. Harry Grant will miss because of Origin. Reece Robson I think is a great pickup. Again, won't play round 17. Coruscant's actually been really solid as well. Scored 107 this week. So unless I'm missing someone for round 17, I don't see a lot of great options for that position. Like Brayley's fine, but he started the season really well, but I don't think he's been doing that good recently. Like my bad. His 3-round average is 63. Sorry, let me retract that statement. He's been doing just fine. 69, 60, 61 and 91. So a bit of a lower week this week. Look, I don't mind it. He's an 80-minute hooker, I think, from memory. McInnes is not playing hooker. He's playing lock, and we'll speak about McInnes. He's pretty disappointing, actually, the last few weeks. So definitely wouldn't be going out and buying McInnes if anyone's thinking about that. Yeah, Brayley's an 80-minute hooker. The question is always with trades, right? It's just like, I think eventually, I don't see Brayley as your season keeper. I think eventually you're going to want to move him on to Harry Grant, Damien Cook. I see a few guys who are better than Brayley. So I think just for, if you can obviously do the trades to flip him and then get him back out again, then I think that's okay. But I don't see him as a great option. But look, next week he could be one. So Ted, it kind of comes down to your trade situation. Michael McInnes plays hooker. Yeah, no, look, he plays hooker, but I don't think he plays hooker for the Sharks. I haven't seen him play hooker for the Sharks because Brayley's an 80-minute guy. So McInnes wouldn't come in and play dummy half. He'd be coming in and playing lock. And yeah, obviously was benched, only played 41 minutes. So McInnes, yeah, has been a bit, since I got him. He had one good score, I think, where he scored 94 points. But since then, not really much. 48. He scored 48 in 41 minutes. So yeah, really good work rate. Talakai, I feel like, should have got a try assist, but the way that SuperCoach plays, they always pay the fullback for those kind of sweet plays to get the try assist. So Kennedy did really well. But look, Talakai did 54 without any major attacking stats apart from, I think, that try contribution and a line break assist. No, he didn't even get a line break assist. So 54 points doing nothing really. So it's a good output from Talakai for, not really doing much in the game. So I need to go back in the chat a little bit. I need to quickly say thank you to Roosters117. So he joined as a member. Sorry, I didn't shout you out when I saw it before. Thank you, Roosters117. Great username. Thanks so much for that. Carlfelt Pod. Ooh, Carlfelt Pod. What did he do? Yeah, he scored 74. He's very try reliant. That's the only problem. He doesn't really have that much base about him. I think if you are going for a Cowboys CT dub, I'd probably get Taulangi or I'd get Holmes, since Val Holmes is goal kicking. So I feel like he's going to be a little bit more consistent. Holmes is not very highly owned from memory, only 6%. So I feel like, yes, fine. You can get Val Holmes as a bit of a pod as well, Oliver. I prefer him because he's goal kicking. So, it's always that hedge thing. It's even if he's not getting any tries, if the Cowboys are doing well, he's likely going to be involved. Just because he's getting goal kick points in there as well. Or not involved. He's going to still probably do okay because he's goal kicking. So I'd probably prefer Holmes as a pod. But yeah, Cowboys on a bad spot, I think, in the back line to be getting a pod. Most people have Drinkwater. But yeah, you can go for a Holmes, maybe a Carlfelt, maybe a Talangi. He's been doing pretty good, I think, over the season. I want to say his average is 50 plus? 56, yeah. So his average is 57, which is not bad. So James is asking, with Max King, Haas, Clemmer and IPAP at front row forward, wondering if I should nuff for the run home, and if so, who? Yeah, okay, so you've got a pretty stacked front row forward. IPAP obviously not going to nuff. I don't think you necessarily need to nuff there, James. I would just say, if I was going to nuff one, maybe it would be Max King, just because I think the other three are probably bigger season keepers, but I think you can make a decision between, I think, any of King, Haas, or Clemmer, and just say, at the time that you need the money, can you afford to get rid of one of them? Whoever's most expensive, you can just snuff one of them. But look, it's not bad to have that kind of depth. Obviously, Haas is battling injuries, so he might not be 100%. So really, then you're looking at Clemmer, IPAP, and Max King that you're playing most weeks. So I think what you've got is fine. I don't think you necessarily have to nuff in that position. 2RF seems like a good place to nuff. Obviously, the bit of a lack of depth in the 2RF position. So I don't mind that as a bit of a place to nuff. I've got like a Jack Howarth. Hopefully, round 17, we get some potential cheapies who just come in for 1 week and then don't play again for the rest of the season. So they could be a good like kind of one and done nuff that you can go for. Lachlan's asking, when are the Origin Game 3 teams announced? So I believe that New South Wales is getting announced tonight, or it could be tomorrow. I think Queensland will be tomorrow though. That's my thinking. I'm just going to quickly pull up on Twitter. Let me just go to the New South Wales Blues account. No, nothing. They haven't posted anything yet. I'm sure one of the journalists on Twitter will start like drip feeding what the team is. Any important dual positions coming out soon? So there's only going to be one more updates of dual positions now, and that's only going to be Max King. So actually, yeah, probably I should mention that in terms of James to answer your question. So yeah, Max King is getting 2RF status added to his front row forward, which is awesome. So yeah, I think that makes you less keen on nuffing Max King because he's actually got a really handy dual status now. Like you can easily shift him to your second row forward. If you've got like him and a Tarpany, that can be really handy just to cover yourself. So yeah, only Max King, Lachlan. I don't believe anyone else, and there won't be any more DPP updates, I think, for the rest of the season because they happen every 6 weeks. So it's going to happen around 18, and then I think by that time is round 24. So I don't even know if they do it at that point. Dead Pisces 1239. Okay, that's a really really big score. You have Pappenhausen, nice one. Didn't loop him. And yeah, I think a lot of people didn't loop Pappy because they had Anderson scored like 12 points. So bit of a killer as an auto emergency. But look, 1239 is a great score. Dead Pisces. Steel, you got 1117. Yeah, a bit on the lower side, but not that low to be fair. Because like I was saying earlier, I think the pass score is probably going to be around 1130 to 1150. So you're 10, 15 points under. So I don't think that's a massive issue. Yeah, so I think next week's the big one, right? Round 17. Let me know in the chat who you guys thinking initially you want to look to target for, like, say, round 17. I've got a few in mind. So I think Eels for sure. They've got the good matchup against the Tigers, I want to say, next week. Let me have a quick check of that. Yes, they've got the Tigers in 17 and they've got the Warriors then in 18. So 2 good games back to back. So yeah, for me, I think Sean Lane actually did really well again this week, 72 points. I'm definitely getting more of a sense of that's the side that they're gonna use him a lot in attack. So he got a try assist, I believe, this week for one of Gutherson's tries. Yep, he did. Even if you take that out though, well, he did have a line break. So if you take out the try assist, still scored 60 points, which is pretty solid floor, right? And him and Dill Bags have a pretty good partnership as well. So yeah, maybe Sean Lane, if for example Madison is not back next week. So Sean Lane is one. I obviously own Dylan Brown, but Dylan Brown's another one, I think, for a lot of people who don't own him yet. Scored 58, which is pretty solid when his team really didn't do too much. Offengawi, should talk about Joe Offengawi. Actually, Jaden, you've just said Joe Offengawi's a freak. Yeah, he scored 81 points in 70 minutes he played in the middle. And that's 81 points in all base. So 47 tackles. We got 1 forced dropout, but then like a lot of runs as well. So yeah, really big score from Offengawi, which is maybe this could be what he is going forward, because I think this is the first week without Alex Twoll. So he obviously was probably going to play bigger minutes in the middle. And so yeah, like Offengawi, before that he was around 60 to 65 each week. Whereas now a big 81 point score. If that's what he's going to be closer to for the rest of the season, again, he's got handy dual status. Might not be the worst shout as well for 17. So there's a few options coming up in round 17, definitely in the forwards. Your Eels guys, maybe an Offengawi. In terms of the backs, I think we're pretty familiar, I think, with a lot of the round 17 centers. So, your Mulitalos. Katoa's done really well, actually, the last few weeks. He's actually outscored, I think, Mulitalo since I bought Mulitalo. Although he really gets killed by Jesse Ramian. I don't know if anyone's a Katoa owner. Jesse Ramian is so bad at his decision making as to when to pass and when not to pass. He doesn't pass the ball to Katoa when he's wide open, and then he passes it to Katoa when he's got 3 men around him, tries to force an offload and goes out of bounds, or it's a knock on or something. So yeah, but Katoa's another one. Lomax, Campbell Graham still did pretty well this week. Maybe a bit of a bounce back from the Rabbitohs with Latrell back. There'll be a few pods, obviously. I think the higher upside pods are definitely going to be like Jerome Hughes, who's a bit of a talking point coming into this week. Latrell's going to be a massive pod to consider. Pappenhausen, I think, is the problem with Latrell is that everyone's going to go Pappenhausen, I think. So unless you can make 2 trades at fullback and get both Pappenhausen and Latrell, I think a lot of people will struggle to get both of them. So I think most will go for Pappenhausen. James asking, could you put your FPL channel on the channels tab to make it easy to find? Yeah, I'll look into that. I'm not quite sure how I'll do that, but I'll do a bit of Googling to cover that off. But yeah, look, I'm not 100% sure actually if I will do the FPL stuff this season. Although FPL Fantasy Premier League, they did start releasing player prices, and it did start getting me a bit hyped. So I think I will continue to do it, but I'm not 100% certain on that yet. But yeah, obviously, if you guys want, you can follow me on that channel there if you want. If you follow Fantasy Premier League, I'm just going to write the name in the chat. It's literally just, if you type that into the YouTube search bar, you should be able to find it. Watch the Eels lose next week. Yeah, well, I mean, their record is basically win, lose, isn't it? If I look at the ladder, and if I look at Eels form. So yeah, their form is 2-2. So basically they're win, loss, and then they're lost again this week. And then so next week, against Tigers, or actually the Eels lost to the Tigers earlier this year, didn't they? Where are they playing? That's the question. If they're playing at Combank, I'd say you probably have to give the edge to the Eels, right? So next week they are playing Leichhardt Oval. Okay, so they're playing a Leichhardt. So not quite a cert, but I would think that the Eels would probably win that game. Round 17 is a good time to use a boost. Yeah, this is a good question. I think Moz, if you're still in the chat, I think you were asking this earlier. I think it's a good week to use a boost. You've just got extra certainty about guys that will play that week. So obviously you can boost to get a couple of nuffs in who might cover the week, and then you don't need again for the rest of the season. So I might boost next week as well. Sticky, I think you have 2 boosts, so I think I would probably definitely use one next week. And then you can use your last one, say in round 18 or 19, just to help you bring back a lot of those origin guns that we're going to want. Like a Harry Grant, maybe a Cam Murray, maybe a Tedesco, maybe Latrell, those kind of guys. You can boost to help yourself get them back in. Next week I probably will boost. Obviously it depends how it works with money. Like Pappenhausen is really not going to lose that much coin. So if I quickly take a look at my team. So the rough plan was next week to get Pappenhausen was I'll probably sell Karaz. So Karaz had a minus 40 break even, so he should make quite a bit of money. He was 404k, so he should be hopefully around the 450k mark. I've currently got 300k. So Pappenhausen will probably be about 915,000. So I'm going to need about 60k. So I'm going to need to make about 150k next week, roughly. So one way I could do that is sell... I can sell one of Angus, Thungor, or Aiken. And I can sell them for a cheaper second row forward. Maybe enough, even potentially. What I could also do is maybe sell Payne Haas for enough. So I could sell Payne Haas for enough. Could then sell Karaz to Pappenhausen. If I want to get in, say, someone like a Madison, maybe a Sean Lane, I would maybe then sell one of Angus, Thungor, or Aiken. And that way I'd be using 3 trades. And then if, say, for example, I really needed to fund extra, I could use then the boost to do the 4th trade. And maybe, let's say hypothetically, Isaiah Tass doesn't play round 17 for whatever reason. Maybe I then downgrade him to a cheap guy. So I might be able to just get next week. The plan will be what looks like to get Pappenhausen, one second row forward, like a Madison type, and then maybe a cheapie to fund that. That might be 3 trades. And then I might use a fourth if there's a cheapie that comes out of nowhere that we haven't thought about, or I need to still make some extra money. So for me, next week, the main decision will be, I think, who to sell out of Angus, Thungor, or Aitken. Now, because Aitken and Thungor did well, and Angus didn't, and so the temptation might be to sell Angus. And the thing is that Aitken and Thungor both have dual, which is pretty handy as well for the back end of the season. So yeah, a couple of decisions I think I've got to make there. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Paps is 100% I think coming in for me, unless he's playing in the blue squad. Ezra Mam I think should be available. Let's say, again, hypothetically, Ezra Mam, maybe he doesn't play round 17. Maybe Gamble comes back in. Then maybe I sell Mam to a cheapie or something. I don't know. So yeah, a couple of ways I'm looking at getting Paps in. What that would do for my trade numbers. Sorry, not trade numbers. What that would do for my round 17 numbers. So I'd have 1, 2, 3. Are we going to include Talakai? I have a feeling that Talakai will get will get kicked out for Whiten. That's just my thinking. So let's assume Talakai plays. So have McInnes, IPAP, Leo Thompson, Talakai 4. I'm not expecting Jack Howard to play. Ezra Mam 5, Dilbag 6, Mulatalo 7, Lomax 8, Isaiah Tass what looks like 9, and then probably 9. Oh, and maybe Grant Anderson 10, but Anderson could even be dropped as well. So let's say I might have 10 people. I'm probably not going to include Nico Hines because I think he's been 18th man the last 2 games. I assume he'll be 18th man again, so he won't be available to play. Even if he is, almost everyone has him, so it's not going to really make a difference. So I'm thinking at the moment I might have 10, and then if I get in Paps, that's 11, maybe a Madison 12, and then maybe a cheapie who plays, that's 13. I think 13 is a pretty good number for round 17. So I feel like I'm in an okay spot. Obviously, one of those guys is like, Leo Thompson, who might get me like 20 points. But the more the merrier, Hayden, no way Whiten plays. Yeah, he didn't have the best game, did he? He had a couple of errors in there, but look, I think Freddie got trust in him, and don't forget that Whiten was probably New South Wales' best player in game 1. I don't think what he did today is going to affect him for selection, in my opinion, Hayden. How much will Elliot increase? So I'm not really good at actually predicting the player increases in prices. But let's see, he had a 40 break even with 62. He's probably got maybe like 15, 20k. So yeah, about that much. Adam Elliott's going to be an interesting one because I don't even know if you'd sell Adam Elliott. He's been doing pretty, like in a position like 2RF, which hasn't had that great options. He could be a keeper. Jesse Raymond is killing your life. Good point out, being a Katoa owner. Yeah, look, any Katoa owners, look, he still manages, he still does well, but Ramian leaves points on the table for Katoa. I think it was either last week or 2 weeks ago. I think he literally bombed 3 tries for Katoa. Katoa could have had 150. As a non-owner, I was like, thank God. But yeah, if you were an owner of Katoa, you'd be filthy, I think, with Ramian. But yeah, let me know in the chat as well, guys, how many numbers you're looking at for round 17. Looks like I could be anywhere between 10 to 13, which I think is a good spot to be in. I had 13 in round 13 for the first bye week, so I think if I've had a total of about 25, 26 players across the bye, I think that's a pretty good outcome. And yeah, I've got 12 trades left, so yeah, after next week I might boost. I might have 8 trades left. So at that point, with 8 trades, obviously not a lot to deal with there. And then I think at that point, there's really 2 people that I would want. Is probably Harry Grant back in, probably for McInnes at this point. I might not even sell Coruscant, he's doing fine. So then I might do McInnes to Grant. I might need to fund that. So that brings me down to 6 trades. And then maybe bring in a Tedesco, maybe Latrell, maybe a Drinkwater to get in at fullback. Because ideally I'd have Joey Manu as in my centre wing. So then my halves would be Cleary, Hines, Dilbags and Munster, my 5/8s, Hines and maybe Teddy as fullbacks. And then I'd have one more reserve spot for say a centre wing, or maybe a 2RF, or maybe a Coruscant type. And so that would, bringing in someone like that Tedesco fullback would leave me with about 5 or 4 trades. So not too many. But at that point I'd say I'd be mostly happy with the team. So I can kind of just save those trades for injuries, for example. you're looking at 12 to 13 James with gaps largely in 2RF. Yeah, I think 2RF there'll be a bit of movement in round 17 as well. Looking to get Papin from Garrick. What do you think? No, so Joshua, I was actually telling Moz actually this earlier. I see Garrick as like a top 3 centre wing for the rest of the season. So I definitely would not be selling Garrick for Pappenhausen. I think he is a season keeper in my opinion. Manly have been pretty impressive despite them losing Turbo. Garrick at fullback has really, really good floor. So if I think he scored 58 points. And don't forget, he got he had that hip injury. I think it was in the first half. I think it was the first half he had it. Also, if anyone was wondering what the Whisperer got, he scored 11.43. So he scored about par. But yeah, if I look at Garrick, so where's Manly yet? Like he got that try assist as well for one of Saab's tries. So he had 2 try assists he got given. Yeah, so he didn't really run a lot. He couldn't really run, to be honest. His hip was gone. I think he's a season keeper, in my opinion. Manly are a good team. They've got a pretty decent run home for the rest of the season as well, from memory. So if you look at it, yeah, look, Knights, Dragons, Roosters and Paras, fine. But then they've got Titans, Sharks, Raiders, Bulldogs. They're not versing like Penrith or Melbourne again. And yeah, he didn't even kick goals. Great point, Lachlan. Yeah, he didn't even kick goals. If he kicked goals, he would have added he's a better goal kicker than Cherry Evans. He would have added maybe 12, 16 points to his score. And so, yeah, I think for me, Garrick is a season keeper. Wouldn't be selling him for Pappenhausen. If he was your only way to do it, then I guess do it. But I'd be looking to get Garrick back in, though. That's my feeling. Like, my top 3 centre wings, I think, for the rest of the season would be Garrick, Joey Manu, and Brian To'o. I think they're going to be the 3 highest averaging centre wings for the run home. Yeah, it's a good point, Machacha. Yeah, hip point to injury. The benefit, I think NRL Physio said that it might only be like a 1 to 3 week kind of pain management issue. And don't forget, Manly have the bye. So he's got an extra week of full recovery. So I think he hopefully should be okay come round 18 when he comes back. I'm looking at post round 17. Obviously, Teddy and Latrell are options, but seeing how DCE plays without Turbo, yeah, he definitely could be a pod play. He's got upside, that's for sure. Like he had a big week this week. He played really well against Melbourne on Thursday, and he was goal kicking, so that definitely did help him out as well. He hasn't been as good as last year, so I think overall the scoring has come down a bit. And the problem with Cherry Evans is that, I guess your fullback would be Hines and Pappenhausen probably, so you'd be skipping one of Teddy and Latrell. Yeah, it could be an option, but hasn't really been that high scoring in terms of upside this season. He's more just been getting like 60 to 65 every week, which is fine. But I feel like he's not going to, as consistently as, say, like Teddy or Latrell, hit like the 80, 90 scores. Aman punt Karaz, Targo down, McInnes to second row, and get Grant. Yeah, that's true. I don't even have to sell McInnes. Sorry, I don't even have to sell McInnes. I can sell Thungor, although I think I'd rather keep Thungor than McInnes. At least he's playing for a better team, better attacking team. What's the go with Grant? Played 80 and only got 37. Has he got a lingering injury? I don't even know if it's that. Yeah, I think he had a few errors. So let's have a look here. So 35 tackles. Like his running, he was barely running. That's the thing. Harry Grant's best asset for Supercoach is his running game. That's where he gets a lot of his line breaks, line break assists. And yeah, if you look at the errors, so yeah, look, he had -4 in errors, -4 in penalties conceded, -3 in kicks that went dead. So if you take out like even half of that, he gets back already like 4 points, 4 to 8 points. So if you add that, he's looking at like a 41 to 45, which is historically about his average in terms of base. So I don't think there's any injury issues there. Gyan, is that how you pronounce it? Apologies if I got that wrong. So I think what he basically scored is his base, just with a few extra errors and penalties conceded that he normally doesn't really get. So his base average is about 45. If I have a quick look actually at NRL SuperCoach Stats, instead of me making that up, let me actually check that for you. So his season average in base is 42. So he basically did what his season average is. I think obviously they were outplayed for almost all of the game. So he really didn't have those attacking opportunities. So I don't think there's anything really to worry about with Grant. I think the fact that he played 80 minutes is the best sign, right? So look, I still no concerns about Grant. I'll be wanting to get him back in, I think, from round 18 onwards. Any questions there? Incentia ran into Hamoli on Friday afternoon. Okay, cool. He's a grade 1 MCL. Said he should be good for their next game, but just a heads up, as I don't think it's public info yet. Thank you so much for the inside information, though, Incentia. I think NRL Physio may have tweeted. So I'm a Patreon for NRL Physio, which I definitely recommend. He might have put it in one of the Patreon posts about that. I can't confirm. I can't 100% remember that. But yeah, I think he mentioned that it could be like a grade 1 to 3 week thing, but he said it probably should be okay. But appreciate that. That's pretty cool that you ran into Hamoli. Tell him to keep doing what he's doing because he's been awesome since I've ever brought him in. I'm just going to quickly refresh my screen just to see if any more updates have come in. I don't believe so. So almost all the updates have come in. So the only 2 games that are left are the Warriors and the Dragons game. So yeah, they haven't come in yet because Aiken was on 68 before. So yeah, 1177. I really can't complain with that, to be honest. We'll go for a couple more minutes, guys, and then I think we might end the stream there. Just throat's a little bit sore, and I've got to make dinner as well. So yeah, any last minute questions, fire them in. Appreciate we haven't really gone through a lot of the games in detail. We've kind of just had a bit more of a general Q&A, but I kind of like doing it that way instead of going through all the games. Let's give a quick shout out to Edric Lee. 5 tries, 172 points. I guarantee people will be buying Edric Lee next week. In fairness, the Knights don't have a bad run home. If you are, look, someone was asking about a pod earlier with Carl Felt. Look, the Knights, I think, have been one of the lowest scoring teams, if not the lowest scoring team all season long. But Edric Lee, 5 tries, and if you look at their run home, it's not bad. Rabbitohs, Manly, Roosters, okay, not ideal. Bulldogs, Tigers, good. Broncos, Raiders, Then Titans, good. Sharks, yeah, so a bit up and down. I'm just throwing it out there, but I don't realistically think I'll be buying Edric Lee when his highest score before that was 63. But look, I had to give a shout out to him. 172 points. Sam says, what to do with McInnes? Yeah, I think McInnes for me will be going after round 17. If he keeps getting benched, or, Finucane definitely has impacted him, that's for sure. So I think Finucane played, let me have a quick look at the minutes here, 1 second. So I think Finucane played 39 minutes last week, and this week he played 50. So his minutes did go up, and that did coincide with McInnes going down. So yeah, for me, McInnes is probably going to be sold for Harry Grant, I think in round 18. What score this week would you say is par? So I've pinned the comment at the top, Joshua. Hopefully you saw that. So I was thinking it's around 1150. That's based on an average, though, in the Podmasters League, which is like the 3rd highest ranked league. So realistically, I'd say the par is probably a little bit under. So about 1130. So I think 1150, you've probably had a fine week. 1200, you've definitely had a good week, I think. Don't buy Edric Lee, just buy the left winger of the next team to play the Titans. Yep. Yeah, look, Titans are awful. There's talk about Holbrook getting sacked. I wonder what that does for Fafita. So Fafita was obviously benched, and we all know Fafita's somewhat tempting. How did he score 49 points? What did he even do in that game? Just a bunch of tackle breaks, I'm guessing. No, a few offloads in there. He had a try contribution as well. Fafita could be a tempting one. So who are the Titans playing next up? Let's have a look. Oh, they obviously had the bye in round 18. In round 17. Broncos. So the left winger for the Broncos is Corey Oates. And Corey Oates actually killed it. He scored like 90-something points. Yeah, 99 points. It's Oates season. It is going to be Corey Oates season. So Machacho, just on your advice, Corey Oates is the one we should all be buying in round 18. To be fair though, they have round 17 cover. If you want a pod center wing, he's a bit expensive though. But yeah, we'll throw it out there. Damien Cook has been great this year. Yeah, Damien Cook has been a lot better this season for sure. Didn't really seem like Latrell back affected him. If anything, it just helped him. Rabbitohs were a lot better overall. and he obviously scored that try as well. So he scored 81 points. So yeah, ideally you'd probably try to get Cook and Grant. The way that most people though will be low on trades, trying to get Grant and then Pappenhausen, etc. I don't really see Dame Cook actually being that heavily bought for the run home. So yeah, could be a nice little, not pod, but a semi-pod, given that he's about 18% owned. Alright guys, going to end the stream there. Throat starting to hurt a little bit. I think we've covered off every game to an extent. Thanks everyone for joining in, and thank you in particular to Roosters117 again for signing up to be a member. Really, really appreciate that. And thanks everyone for letting me know at the beginning that my audio was not working. We fixed that up pretty quickly, hopefully. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream and had a good weekend. We'll be back Tuesday or Wednesday to cover round 17. Obviously it's the bye week, so a lot of it's an important week to try to make the ground up. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, give the stream a like on the way out as well. Really appreciate you all joining me on this Sunday evening. Gonna end it there. Take it easy and see you all in the next one.